Sounds quieter than usual in here.
Really?
Yeah, you know that, how I fear that? We can't have any lagging between our
I know, I'm
convo,
trying to
'cause-
gather my thoughts because sometimes it's like when I can't like gather thoughts and then I'm like, oh yeah, what am I supposed to talk about? I feel like your outfit's like very Katie coded.
It is Katie
I'm like,
coded.
wait, I'm like, this is like such a me outfit.
Okay, so today, the reason I wanted to wear not pants because I weighed myself. Remember how we were like, I know the other night we were out and I wanted to weigh myself at night and Katie was like, don't do that. Best advice you ever given me. So I was like, I just don't feel like feeling uncomfortable sitting in pants today. So I wanted to wear a skirt, but I don't want to wear a short one. And this is a dress and it's long, but I was like, but it's spaghetti strap. And I was like, I'm going to put a t-shirt on over it. So I threw a t-shirt on and I was like, you know what? I wore these with a skirt yesterday with socks like this. And I was like, we're going to do that.
I love a loafer sock skirt moment.
Yeah.
It feels like schoolgirl.
It feels like, you know how it like slides a drone over like beaches and beautiful things when it's like an example of one is when someone, it's like how it feels eating a tuna melt when no one says tuna melts are disgusting. And it's like a beautiful scenery in the background. Like that's how this outfit feels
Who
right now.
says tuna melts are disgusting?
Do you know how, because I eat so many of them, lots of people, and they have to say something. And I'm like, tuna melts are so good. What is wrong with you?
I love tuna melts. Oh my gosh.
I eat them for breakfast a lot. Like I go to breakfast places and if that's the only thing that appeals to me on the menu, I'll have a tuna melt at 9 a.m. I don't
there's
care.
bad tuna melts and then there's bad, but there's bad anything. But
well,
like,
there's bad sex, but it's still sex. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. When a tuna melt's bad, it's just sort of like, I'll eat it, I guess. But it's not like pizza where it's like bad pizza is still good pizza.
I'm going to have to push back here. I would,
I don't know.
Any type of tuna melt, I'd really take it.
But when it's a good tuna melt, whoa.
Welcome to Disrespectfully
with Katie Maloney
and Dana Cathan.
Unapologetically,
We're here to do what we want to do.
spilling the tea.
Babe, you're going to see the power of women. Like,
Disrespectfully.
What kind of tuna do you like when it's like really like mayo-y, or do you like when it's like has like crunchies in it and it's more like kind of rustic in the
kind of a combination of the two. Because like when I make it at home, I do celery, onion, lots of pickle, like diced pickle, super important to me. So those crunchy elements have to be there. But I really like mayo, and I know it's not a popular opinion, but
no, I mean like that's like a very common ingredient in a tuna salad. Obviously,
how do you like it?
But
do you like it?
Sometimes it's over creamy.
Truly, how do you like it? Like the ground mustard, like this mustard seed kind that's more on the rustic-y way?
I definitely do when it's done right, and sometimes I've seen it with like capers in it, and sometimes they put like some type of like seed, like maybe like a sunflower seed or a pumpkin seed in it, and that fucks too. But there always has to be an element of like dill or pickle, or you know, like I want a crunch in it as well. I don't want just like this mush. And when I get a mush,
no, if there's absolutely no onion, celery, like anything, it's kind of like I'll still eat it because I'm gross, but it's not like my favorite.
I don't eat it because I'm probably hungry, but the texture has to be on point. And what kind of cheese?
Cheddar, like very well melted cheddar.
Sharp cheddar? Extra sharp?
I'd say sharp.
Yeah.
How are you going?
Sharp.
Yeah, sharp.
Ooh.
Honestly, beep this because I don't want people going there because it's already so busy. Has the best tuna melt. I don't think I've ever had that one. Something about her has a fantastic vegan tuna melt. I've only had
It's not a melt.
Or not a,
I mean, you
excuse
could
me.
get it as a melt, but
Tuna sandwich. Yeah, I guess we're talking about two different things.
I mean, we stopped calling it a vegan tuna because I think it might throw people, but it's prepared in a fashion of like a tuna salad. It has a lot of the same elements and ingredients. It has a vegan mayo, and it's chickpea based. It's dill and all of that. But yeah, that was Carrie. Delish.
I love your shirt too. For people who are not here watching, it's Natalie Imbruglia and it says Torn, but it looks like the band t-shirt from Korn. Yeah, show that thing off. That's very you.
Our girl, Peyton, sent this.
That's a Peyton one?
Yeah. She sent this to me.
She can do anything.
Anyway, yeah.
Hi.
That was a wild tuna melt
good morning.
Tangent. Yeah.
This is such a really quick sidebar. Do you know what a bikini barista is?
A what?
Oh my God, Leia, do you know what a bikini barista is?
A barista who wears a bikini?
Is this just a Seattle thing?
Do they wear bikinis?
Yeah. So, but in Seattle, some of them get to be they're like, I would say like bikini all the way to like pasties and a really, really, really string bikini. Because
interesting choice for Seattle.
No, these women are out there. They're our strongest soldiers. It's freezing. They have like heaters. But recently, some guy who was being a dick threw, and it was in Seattle, threw a coffee at the girl, and she walked out for 2 seconds and walked back and grabs a hammer and straight up
I saw this.
bashes in his windshield.
I didn't know
Promising
that.
Young Woman style.
I didn't know that it was a Bikini Barista. I just saw like the footage from like it was a drive-through, and she reached through the window. I didn't realize it was like, wow,
Crazy. But then there was another one that was like a year ago, also in Seattle, which, you know, a lot of serial killer situation happening there. But a guy, she was handing the guy the coffee, and it's like 4 a.m. They get there really early, and he tried to zip tie her, but she pulled back and closed it, and he peeled out and ran away. But they got his license plate, so they caught him.
Jesus.
But anyway, I digress. Apparently, that is a Seattle thing and not really an anywhere else thing. I didn't know people don't know what bikini baristas are.
No, but for it.
It's just where men like to go pay a little extra, and maybe some ladies pay a little more for their cappuccino.
Interesting. I mean, okay, cool.
Totally random, but I was just curious. So you guys don't know what it is. So I guess there were none in Utah. And hey, where are you from?
I'm from LA.
Oh,
But
okay.
crazy that that's not a thing here, like on the beach. I mean, but I could see that like in Miami. That feels like very Miami vibe. But everyone's always like half naked there.
I don't know who the founding fathers of Bikini Baristas were, but they were like, you know, it'd be a good idea because it rains constantly and it's always cold and awful here. Let's get their clothes off and stick them in a little tin can outside.
Done. So, where do I invest? Do you know what's been on my mind a lot?
Tell me.
I saw this gal on nowhere else but TikTok, and she is a lawyer, and she's like, listen, here's some advice on how you can get revenge that most likely will not get you arrested, but this is not legal advice on how to like seek revenge on an ex or someone that you don't like. And it's just basically where you can purchase items on Amazon because you can't really trace back a credit card or, the original sender because they don't give you a receipt on Amazon. It's just like your name's on the box and that's it. You can buy all types of live bugs and buy them by the hundreds and thousands. You can buy dead insects. Like you can buy like live cockroaches.
Okay, that's so funny you're saying that because I was listening to Julia Fox's memoir last night, and she did that once. She bought 100 hissing cockroaches.
Hissing cockroaches.
And I was
one of
like,
them.
girl.
I mean, and she's like, it was one thing she said, she's like, guys they're not really like, they don't respond in the ways that we would, that they're mostly gonna like probably have an extreme reaction and then they're just gonna like sit there and probably and someone said that they ordered one just to kind of see what it was like, and they're kind of just in there. They're not like really packaged up in a way that like, I don't know, they're just sort of like in a box.
That creeps me out so bad because I imagine you could hear the sounds before you even open it, don't you think?
Probably.
Ugh.
And then there's another one that was like caking someone's car. And I was like, oh, what's this about? It's literally smearing cake on someone's car. And she's like, and then you get just like a little on the windshield, but then you get a little more on the wipers.
How is that not illegal though?
I'm sure it is.
Mm. She's saying probably not jail time.
Yeah, it probably won't get you arrested, but not
maybe frowned upon.
Can't
in the eyes of the
guarantee
court.
it. Yeah, but like, it's coming from a lawyer type person that like can't find anything written down in the law.
Thou shalt not cake ka.
Yeah, she's like, but how many men do you also know that like they're out there, they're like, what is this cake? And might have a little bite of it. And it's just like, but these are just like, they're so like borderline innocent, but also so inconvenient to a person that if you really just want to like wreck their day, week, maybe even month, because then I'm like, well, how do you just dispose or not dispose, but get rid of 500 bees?
You move. You leave it all in the past.
Or there's those glitter bomb ones that are completely anonymous. There's like a website for this, and they essentially explode when someone opens it, and it's glitter. They also crunch up like Doritos. Like they pack these things full of just like the most horrific things.
And it's like, because I've seen those, it's like the most fine glitter too, that there's just, I don't know what you would do. Like how you would get that out of anything. Like,
Anything.
do you just start eating the Doritos because you're sad? Like, What? At least they have that in there. Like,
If I ever get a package that I know for sure I'm not expecting one, I'm not opening it.
no, it's there's no return to sender, and it's also like I imagine it written out like how someone would write a ransom note. Like I'd be like, it's like in a scary movie where it's like safety or death. Like I just don't open that. I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't
but-
like this. They didn't grow up in the times of anthrax apparently, because I am paranoid.
Yeah, but some people that in particular that you might be want to send, you'd have to send to somebody that is a stupid,
A ding dong.
a real ding dong that's gonna just open it anyway because they're like, oh, maybe someone sent me a present.
Okay, honestly, none of our listeners are stupid, but if this has happened to you, please write in about it because we need to know the experience and if you found out who did it and like,
Or if you sent it to someone,
or if you did it.
if you sent anyone any live bugs, dead bugs.
Bruh, that's like getting a little. It's just so upsetting. I do not co-sign on this at all. Okay? Tana Manju, actually, I saw her. She posted a TikTok about it. She basically said, like, if there is some girl out there who's done you dirty or you hate them, when you go to buy something at Sephora, type in their phone number and use their Sephora points.
I have so many Sephora.
There's
points.
no way that's a crime. Like, don't do that.
Don't use my. But like also like what can you get? They're like, do you want this little tiny
No.
mascara or this little tiny tube of moisturizer that has like one drop in it? Whatever. Like, do you want to use your points? I look at like what they have in that sad little case. I'm like, no,
Girl, you don't get the products for ants. You use them every 500 points is $10 off.
Yeah, I did the $10 off. Too bad I'm spending like $400.
100%. So I don't know, maybe well, I know, but I always use the $10 off and then I have it again immediately because I'm spending so much money. But I thought that was really funny. I was like, interesting. I wonder if anyone's ever done that and like kept track of it.
No, what you do is you always like sign someone up for like just spam emails.
The spam emails or the keys all over the city.
Oh, to their apartment?
No, it's a fake key that said there's a phone number on it that's like, if found, call. And you scatter them about.
Oh my God. That's hilarious. Imagine losing your mind. Oh my God, you lose your mind.
You would go absolutely insane. And also strangers calling you. I'm like, but again, that would never happen to me because I don't know that number. Click. Do not answer. I don't care who it is. I don't care if I have a loved one in a medical facility and it says hospital. I'm not answering that until you leave me a voicemail and I'll call you back.
I mean, again, would have to be a real dum-dum. Someone who does do those answers numbers that they don't know.
Not doing that. It's not happening. Like there are just certain ways, like certain people who's scared of the ocean. They're like, well, I'm not scared of shark attacks. I'm not getting in the water. Like I'm not afraid of those like AI scams because I'm not answering my phone unless I know you. Unless you're in my favorites, I'm not.
That's what I mean. Like, yeah, you can like call me, beat me if you want to reach me, but I ain't answering.
That's a way I just referenced Kim Possible last week. We need to watch Kim Possible.
I know, because it was the little mole guy. Oh, in your last post.
Yeah. Let's do daddy list. I have two, and they're Sha'Carri Richardson is first on my daddy list. She is, first of all, just like so cool and authentic and is a master of her craft and really good at what she does. But she just qualified for the Paris Olympics. And in 2021, she was disqualified for THC.
Yeah.
And that was very unfair and complete bullshit and just like had nothing to do with performance enhancement. If anything, I think you're less likely to run if you're getting high. Like I think you're more likely to get on the couch and watch The Office and have some Dunkaroos. I'm like, that's not like, anyway, so she's just so cool. Like her hair always looks amazing and she just always has like her nails done and she wears a lash while she's running. Like good for you.
Yeah.
I just love her. So daddy.
Brooke
Schofield. So we're going to circle back to why she's daddy because it's a very long story. Who's in your daddy list?
Well, mine's again are like things.
Love.
What I'm obsessed with this week is because I've been using it again and I really want to highlight it. Is my walking pad. It's so daddy.
You've been using it?
Yeah, girl. Pull that shit back out.
Okay.
Because I can do the other thing I love, which is like watching my programs. I watched like The Affair. I watched the whole documentary of what happened to Sherri Papini, the perfect wife. on Hulu. So it's like, you know what? How about I don't sit and I walk? Problem
Daddy.
solved.
Daddy.
I solved 2 of my problems: catching up on programs and moving my ass. That's about as daddy as it gets.
Are the programs also on the daddy list, or is just the walking?
You know, no, they're not necessarily on daddy, but the walking pad is. Am I on daddy? I don't know. I don't think so. But
Walking pad's a good one.
that's the only thing on my daddy list. I mean, like
Okay.
this week has been a little bit of a slow week for the daddies, but walking pad
There's always next week.
is so daddy. If you don't have one, I recommend you get one because it's like so slim. You can slide it under a couch. It's very compact. It rolls. It's easy. You can store it. Why not?
That's
You can
great.
get on Amazon. It comes right to your house. Easy.
Honestly, I prefer things on the daddy list. I think it's funnier, more delightful. I'm jealous. I mean, I guess if we're talking about appliances in your house, that foot squeezy thing would probably be
Let's put that on the daddy list as well. Because like, what's more daddy than having your foot massage?
I spent a lot of time in that thing. I really love it.
It heats. It has like little roller balls up for the bottom of your feet, and it like has an air compressor, so it squeezes your toes and like, oh my god,
It really feels good too. Like you think this, you like someone's like, oh, that massage chair, and you're basically just getting electrocuted. You're like, zzz, but like that actually feels like massage. It's wonderful.
It's so good. I like when we were at Disneyland for like 27 hours walking. I got home and my feet hurt so bad I could barely take 2 steps. I slid my feet into that thing for like 20-30 minutes. I swear the only reason why I could like walk the next day was because of that. It saved my life.
Well, we got home. We went to Ethel Kane this weekend and got to see her at the Hollywood Bowl, and she was amazing. It was very fun. So we got home from that. We ordered Taco Bell and put on Inception and ordered some wine. And then I stuck my dogs right in that thing and just sat there eating my beanie cheesy burrito and Doritos Los Tacos, cheesy gordita crunch, and my pop and my wine, and had just a wonderful time. We also had a really strange experience with the person who delivered the wine.
Wait, does that complete the daddy list?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it for me.
So that's it for the daddy list. Okay, we can talk about
We need to talk about our weird dasher, and then I want to get into Brooke and Tana. And I'm sorry that this is so clunky, you guys. The daddy list is new.
Yeah,
We'll
no,
be better
because that's
about
a
it.
different conversation. But yeah, the
weirdest thing I've ever seen, it was bizarre.
Well, yeah, because so Dana and I were like, we'd order the wine, and then we got into like our skincare routine.
Because I was like, wasn't sure if I was going to stay over, but then we were having a whole bunch of fun. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to stay the night. So we're on the like snail part of the routine. Like, and mind you, we're both just in a big t-shirt and undies. That's all we're wearing. And I'm like thinking about the Taco Bell. So I'm like, Katie, make sure your phone is near you because the Taco Bell might be here soon. She's like, oh my God, the wine.
Yeah. So I was like, and I see a message from the delivery guy, and he's like, I'm here, I'm at the door. So I'm like, oh my God, is he here? Like, I didn't get a phone call to buzz anybody in. So Dana like opens up the door
because I saw something that said door on your phone, but what he'd said was, I'm at whatever he was typing. He was drunk or something. I opened the door. This man is laying on the ground, and he had been there for like 7 minutes. And I was like, ah! Like over the door, and he was like, oh, I'm so glad you're home. And I was like, okay, if I'm a delivery person and you are not communicating and it's been 10 minutes, I'm leaving. Like, that's your fault. I'm charging you for that and leaving.
But also, you cannot stand for 5 minutes.
He was laying on the ground, like slumped over. Like I thought I was gonna have to administer CPR. I was like, this wasn't in the plan for the night.
So I hand him my ID, and he's trying to scan it, because they have to scan it to take a photograph of it, whatever, for the app. And he's really trying. It's taking him a few minutes, and he's like leaning against the wall, and I'm just like, like the door. We have the door like cracked because I don't have pants on. So I'm just trying to like just get my face to just, observe what's happening. And then, Data's like, do you want to try my ID? And he's like, no, I can do it. And then finally he realizes that he's not pushing like the button to like actually capture the photo. He's like, oh, maybe it'd be helpful if I push the button. And I was like, oh, yeah, that usually helps.
This is how it sounded. Maybe it'd be helpful if I push the button. I was like,
sir,
are you very, very drunk?
It would appear that he was. But then, and then he's like, so how's that prairie chilled one you guys got? And I'm like, I don't know. We haven't tried it yet. Thank you.
No. So we take it. It's over. Like the transaction has happened. He's taken the photo. And then he starts trying to chit chat with Katie about the wine. I'm behind the door. Katie's here. And a picture when what's his name is like, and none for Gretchen Wieners, bye. I was like, okay, it's great, bye. And like closed the door and locked it and was like, sir, are you just trying to have a chat with us now? Like
no, he wanted to come in and have a kiki with us.
Do you want us to pour you a glass? Come, okay, come on in. Let's log off. Get offline, babe. Come hang out with us. We got an extra cheesy beanie burrito. Just kidding. I would never give that up.
Yeah, no, that's what I think he was hoping for.
Yeah, it really interrupted the flow of the routine that we were in because it's usually such a quick transaction, and maybe this isn't interesting or funny, but it was like literally insane at the time.
No, I think, well, it's disturbing. It's slightly funny in hindsight because it ended up being okay. But like, yeah, when a drunk delivery person shows up and is falling asleep at your door because you just aren't responsive for like 5 minutes.
Have you ever been in an Uber where it was clear the person was drunk?
Once.
What happened?
I mean, I don't know if they were drunk, but they were very swervy, and it's terrifying. Like, I don't really know like what they were like. I'm here. I'm okay that nothing like terrible happened, but like it is like really, I don't know, it's scary, obviously.
I've had one that I've actually reported. I was with my sister, and this was around Thanksgiving last year, and it was like to the point that when we stopped, we're texting each other, right? And I was like, should we jump out of the car at the next stop? Like, it was so scary. And my point about it is, if you're an Uber driver, especially, your one job is probably not to get drunk.
Yeah, people
like,
are
that's a really silly goose
using
thing to do.
Uber mostly because they are incapable of driving. I mean, yeah, sometimes they don't have a car, but it's because they themselves have been drinking and they need a designated driver, a sober driver.
Right.
I mean, this is why I often use like Uber like Black, because it's more expensive, but they're people that are typically like professional drivers.
Yeah.
They're not people that are drinking and driving.
Yeah. Well, and I think less murdery. Those are just usually the vibes I get when I'm alone at night. Like,
yeah,
they just seem like real professional people.
Yeah, they're not people that are like on their way home from the bar being like, let's see if I can pick up some folks on the way home. Like, what the fuck?
Let's get this Uber pool going. We're headed home in my direction.
It's, yeah, bizarre.
Can I tell you the story about Tana and Brooke? Did you watch all of that?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I know like you explained it to me. Are we talking about the guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Quick context. So Tana and Brooke obviously have the canceled podcast. We were discussing the other day. We just love them in general. Like I don't listen to it all the time, so it's more of just like their online presence.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure the podcast is great.
Mm-hmm.
Brooke did a Risa Tisa. If we remember a few months ago, we did She's Who the Fuck Did I Marry?
She literally started the first one of Who the Fuck Did I Marry? I watched maybe the first 3 or something. But
I think there were like 15 parts.
I
So
was super tired.
So also quick Risa Tisa. She's in London. She's finally on her trip.
Yay.
So we're very happy for her. Love to see her win. So, okay, there's someone named Clinton Kane. I had no idea who he was actually before this.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him before. He is a musician. He had posted a TikTok and it said, it's like his new song. It was like, when you've been over the relationship for 2 years, but she won't stop yapping about it. And he was like, like drinking a drink. And then he cheersed it. And then all of a sudden it was him in a field in a really weird outfit. Like kind of doing a like JoJo Siwa, basically. Like it just wasn't, he didn't do what he thought he did. So then Brooke was like, okay, I'm guessing she told the story in our podcast and that's what he's referencing. But like, she basically was like, oh, you want me to yap? Let's yap. Part 1 of Who the Fuck Did I Marry? And then she basically was like, of course I'm yapping about it still. That was an insane thing you did. Long story short, he said that his parents and brother were dead. His dad did pass away. His mom and brother are very much alive. He faked an Australian accent. Where's Brunei?
The northern coast of the island of Borneo in Southeast
So to be
Asia.
clear, not Australia.
No.
It's a different
No.
place in Australia.
It
Great.
does not seem to be there.
Great. So he also was obviously cheating on her a bunch and whatever. And the ways in which he was gaslighting her. So Risa Tisa, when she did hers, she put it in a playlist. And so by the time I found it, I just started it and I was listening to it like a podcast and it was
It
amazing.
was like 8 hours. Yeah.
Hers wasn't in a playlist. So I was like literally laying in bed trying to fall asleep and wanted to hear the whole story. And so I had to keep like flipping through it. But she is so good at trolling people and clapping back and handling her business. And I just respect her so much. It was she was like, you know what, you guys, please stream his new song on Friday. He needs the money for therapy. Let's go. Like, let's help him out. And it's blown up and I'm just obsessed with it.
When I first watched her talk about this guy and how, you know, he cheated on her, and she's like, yeah, we'd be like literally laying in bed and he's like sending dick pics to girls. And I'm like, oh, just another like dude, fuckboy behavior mentality. Like I'm like tale as old as time. This poor girl, like she's like so hot. Like what the fuck?
So
and then I go and look at him. I'm like, this guy, another guy that looks like they negotiated their way onto this planet. Like, how the fuck on earth is he pulling any chicks, let alone her, and then cheating on her? Like, I get he's like, you know, a musician, he's talented, like that's gonna get him some play, but like, excuse me.
Katie, that was the funniest fucking thing you've ever said. Like,
women of planet Earth, do not.
He honestly looks like the mean security guard from Lilo and Stitch.
I mean, yeah, I don't mean to like bash anyone's like looks, but like,
no, I know it just more so speaks to the fact, and like obviously your beauty doesn't like set the tone of like what you're worth or whatnot, but when someone is like that and
when someone's gonna lie and cheat and deceive, all of that, I'm gonna go there because like, who the fuck do you think you are?
Eric Benet couldn't even really pull off cheating, so like if he can't, you should probably sit down. But she basically said Katie negotiated their way onto this earth.
First of all, I did not come up with that. That's like a thing. But
so funny.
I don't care. It's the best thing I've ever heard.
He fits that to a fucking T. Like, sir, what the fuck?
She said that they started dating because she liked his music.
Yeah.
And he slid into her DMs. And so, but she at first, she wasn't like, oh, I want to date this person. She told him no a bunch of times. And then
she's like, yeah, I hate a song called Chicken Nuggies. I'm like, girl,
we're like,
please sit down, let's chat.
If you had told me
right now,
if you had told me any title of any song that I thought that man would have, and you said Chicken Nuggies, I'd go, yeah,
that makes sense.
Okay,
but also like,
got it.
Also like
the Dunkaroos interlude, like that is what the fuck he's doing. So she goes to his concert and like has a good time, but it's not as much of a thing. And I think she goes back the next night for the second show. And then they go to a diner after and they're like, you know,
eating chicken
nuggets, drunk, hanging out. And then he tells this sob story about his family. So as someone with a dead mom and Leia, you with your dead dad, like anyone that fakes the death of a parent or a sibling or someone super close to you, first of all, I am a big proponent of like, you speak things into existence. So that's like so dark to me because you're energetically like risking people's lives that you love. I just believe that. So it's just such a weird thing to say, but like you really couldn't come up with any other, why couldn't you be like, yeah, I suffered from gout and ADHD. Like there was literally no other plague you could come up with besides my family is dead.
When I was really young, I got beat with an ugly stick and and this is why.
And then the Intergalactic Council was like, you got to get out of here, man.
We're going to send you to Earth. Good luck. But guess what? We're going to make you like talented. So
we're going to make you're going to look like someone who would be great on radio.
Yeah, we're going to give you the face of radio. I'm so mean right now, but I don't care because this person is a psychopath.
No, like you're lying about your dead family. We can talk about your looks.
Yep.
Sorry.
That's what you get.
She also explained their like explosive fights and the way in which he would gaslight her. Like he is a master manipulator too. He probably is a sociopath. The whole thing is insane. But then, so obviously I go to his video and the comments, there's like 3 million views on this video and there's like 40 comments. People, and who knows, maybe this is a marketing ploy on his team's part. People are making TikToks where they go and comment something like supporting Brooke and then they refresh it and it's gone. Someone is staying on all of his videos and immediately deleting any comments that don't say like, oh my God, I can't wait for this song, blah, blah, blah.
Well, it's just going to look weird when he has that many views and the comments are like, his engagement is not going to be, I don't know. It's going to be pretty obvious.
No, that's what people are saying. Wait, I'm dying. Comments are turned off. Yeah, I bet they are. And then he also posted someone crying and being like, saying I love you for last night after a healthy breakup, listening to the song, and you know how we feel about crying on the internet. Yeah, so his comments are turned off. And he Oh yeah, it's here. Wow, comments are turned off. They couldn't keep up with it. He is just like, have you seen This Is the Original one?
So don't make me look at this.
Bro, who told him to put that outfit on? Who needs enemies when you have a team like that put you in that outfit and we're like, this looks awesome.
I thought like, when I looked at it, I was just like, there's no way that.
It really invigorated me. I love when a horrible guy galvanizes women. The last time I felt this horned up about something was probably the Matt Rife revolution that she started.
Oh yeah.
She is just like, I love her and I want her to find happiness in the perfect person. But in the meantime, I want men to keep playing in her face like this because she just is
Just doing the Lord's work.
doing the Lord's work.
And we're here for it. Another relationship playing out on the interwebs. It's on the list. The Tyler and Gabby. What do you feel about the Tyler and Gabby interview to relationship now? I know they did a hard launch.
They did.
If anyone doesn't know, let's give backstory because
Okay.
this is like probably maybe more niche than anything else.
Well, first of all, have you been following it since the very beginning?
Mhm.
Because I just found out about this yesterday.
Oh no,
Okay.
yes.
Then you give the background then, because if you've been following longer.
This guy, Tyler, whatever his last name is, I don't know. He's very tall. He's like 6'5", and he like does those like on the street interviews with people about height and like what's your ideal height? Like what, would you date someone over this height or this height?
It's always about his are always about height.
Typically, yeah, because he's a really tall guy. And so then
He's actually 6'9".
Okay, 6'9", 6'5", whatever. He's tall as fuck. So then he meets this girl named Gabby, and she's like 6'1" or 6 foot?
6'1".
6'1", thank you. Numbers are hard. And she's gorgeous. She's blonde, and they like immediately look really good together. And they have this like immediate sort of like chemistry and banter. And, he's of course asking her like her height preferences. And she's like, someone 6'5" or taller, 6'9", sure. So people are shipping them immediately in the comments. So they go have like a little coffee date, and then they like are giving their sort of like thoughts and opinions on the other person afterwards. And everyone's just like hardcore shipping them. And it just sort of like kept going after that. And they went to Disneyland or Disney World.
Do you think that they got told they couldn't get on rides? They're like, sorry, you're too fucking tall. You're not doing this.
They had this whole like Disney World, and like he is kind of like a Star Wars nerd, like, and he convinced her to get a lightsaber. He had this one that he like really was obsessed with when he was a kid, and he was like so excited about it. And she got the Darth Vader one, and they like hooked it on their like little pants, and like just like their whole like, I think it's like really sweet. And it's just like, yeah, like of course like the internet like was like hardcore about it, but I think they like genuinely like had this like little spark when they saw each other and they met each other. And he was just doing like his like thing that he does on his account, just interviewing people in the street about their dating preferences and height preferences and whatnot, and met Gabby.
When I went back and watched it, they're a very hot couple. The sparks are so clear, and
Mhm.
it's like an immediate. I loved just finding it because I went back in all the comments and saw the old, and everyone was like, "Are we all watching this happen?"
Mhm.
Like it was just such a cool, funny. Like you can see in real time as they're both realizing, like, oh, like who's this? And so he just did a video and said they're in an official relationship now. So it's been like a month. They're fully dating. And I think a lot of the comments were very sweet and supportive, but they basically were like, don't be chronically online with your relationship. As much as we've loved this, be careful with it. Protect it. And I thought that was really cool.
I think that's really important because then people feel like they're owed it and they want to just be having constant updates. And I think that just, I don't know, it becomes not your own. I don't know. As someone who has had their relationship heavily on display, and I don't know, I think it's important to keep things private and for yourself. I think it's cute that they've like had this like whole like the beginning stages and getting to know it like sort of for people. I think they can keep it for themselves. They don't need to share that.
No, because it's just like the court of public opinion. You don't need to open yourself up to that kind of scrutiny. And I like really think they're gonna make it. I know it's really early stages, but I'm like,
it's early days, babes, but I think they have, I think they have something really special.
no, I'm like, was in my bed, like on my tummy, like kicking my feet, like watching. I was like, oh my God, this is so cute. So I'm really rooting for them. Like if they don't make it, I don't want to be dramatic, but I will take a vow of silence. This podcast is over. I'm like, they're so cute.
Love doesn't exist. But I mean, I just love, it's not some people meeting on apps. I'm not saying that apps can't work, but it's just like seeing people IRL in the wilds meeting, connecting in that way. It's like, bring that back. Bring back going out into the world, meeting someone, taking a chance, meeting up with them again and seeing where it goes. And not doing the texting, yeah, we'll meet up, never having it happen. You know, I don't know why for a while I was getting served a bunch of people talking about their like Hinge horror stories about getting stood up. And I'm just like, this is so depressing.
It is. It's so sad. I'm like, well, and this was something where it was like, we saw it happening in real time, but we didn't know. It was just supposed to be an interview on the street. So it's like, if we're watching Love Island or whatever, then it's, people are looking for love. But I think this is just such a wonderful example of that kismet thing that can happen. And it's just like, we'd love to see it.
That's what I mean. It's just like, you never know when love will find you. Is that corny?
No, I loved it. It hasn't found me yet, but I'm like,
but doesn't mean because you just go out by your day and some guy comes up, he's like, hey, can I ask you a question? And you're like, yes.
I do. Is the answer? Is that the question? Okay, wait. Should we do the affair?
Yes.
Let's just take a little quick turn. And okay, I'm kind of worried about this.
Why?
So let us know if you guys hate it, because I'm like, if they haven't watched it, but even sometimes I feel like if we're listening to show breakdowns, as long as we give context, it's still, you can follow along with it, even if you haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen the affair, Leia?
I haven't, but a lot of people commented on YouTube excited about the affair.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Wow. Because I have not watched the affair since I watched it when it came out the first time. I only watched it one time. I didn't rewatch it or anything like that. So I sat down and watched it and I was like, wow, this is a great show. Where do we begin?
Episode 1, season 1.
Yes.
So it basically starts out with this family that lives in New York, and it's a bustling, busy morning, and they're trying to get out the door to go to the Hamptons for the summer.
Mm-hmm.
The wife, what is her name? Helen.
So
it starts with this couple and their 4 kids. So Noah's the guy, Helen's the wife. She has very wealthy parents that own a home in the Hamptons. So they go there for the summers. So they're just getting out the door. You can tell that there's like an energy about him that up until this point, he's basically saying in the narration, like, I was really happy. Like there was nothing missing from my life. But then there's all these little Easter eggs of like kind of a midlife thing starting and like him feeling.
Yeah. And it seems that him and his wife like do still have a great relationship. They seem very, very attracted to one another. It seems like they do have a healthy intimacy, between them. But, they do have young children, up until like a teenager as well. So there does seem to be things that do maybe get in the way of life and things between them. But,
they're trying to have sex in the morning and their young daughter like runs into the room.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't happen.
Mm.
So they go to the Hamptons, they stop at a restaurant, and we meet Allie, who is the other, and obviously this is called The Affair, so it's about an affair. But
she's the waitress.
She's the waitress. She's kind of like taking the order, chatting. You're getting all the personalities. They have their oldest daughter is just like this like ornery teenager who's very like wants to be a model, and she just has an attitude. Their young daughter starts choking. She like swallows a marble or something. So everyone's freaking out. The server's there.
Yeah, Noah is able to like give her some type of, Heimlich, or is able to get the marble out of her breathing.
Her air hole.
Her air hole. And then, everyone's like freaking out. They're trying to calm the kids down. He goes to go find his other son in the bathroom. And meanwhile, the Allie, the waitress, comes out of the bathroom and she's visibly very upset. And he's asking her, are you okay? She goes, yeah, that was really upsetting about your daughter. And he's like, okay, well, thank you. Are you going to come back and take her order? Kind of like trying to make her laugh a little bit. And then later on that night,
the next important things that happen, they go to the parents' house, the grandparents.
Yes.
They're at the grandparents' house. We meet them. The mom is, you can just tell, like,
right,
awful. She's very hoity-toity. He is a writer, and he has just written his first book, Noah. And he's also a teacher, but he really enjoys it. And his father-in-law is a very successful author and is rich because of it. So we see a conversation between the two of them where you can just tell he's emasculated by him. And, he's like basically rubbing in his face that he gave them a loan to buy their brownstone in New York. And he's like, oh, well, good. You have a second book coming. You can quit your horrible job. So he has this looming second book that he needs to be successful. And the father-in-law is basically like, everyone has one book in them. Very few people have two. So he kind of does that. And then that night, him and his wife, Helen, are having sex. And he's like, look at me, like looking for intimacy. And she starts laughing.
Yeah. Another emasculating thing that happens. And it's just, and he's been getting a little bit of what he feels is attention from other women that he's kind of caught off guard, that he seems to be enjoying, you know? Like he doesn't want to engage in it and he doesn't want to indulge because, you know, he seems to be very dedicated to his family and his wife, but like he's not getting that kind of attention that he is getting outside of it. You can see like he's struggling.
Right. So he can't sleep. Their kid then also comes back and interrupts them, and they fall asleep, the wife and the kid, and he gets up and goes for a walk. He goes to the beach and finds Allie there. He walks Allie home, and then there's this whole thing about an outdoor shower. He leaves, and then he hears yelling, so he goes back, and Allie's having sex with someone on a car, and he watches.
Her husband.
Well, we don't know it's her husband yet.
Right.
Cole hasn't been shown, but
Yeah.
So he just from his perspective, he's just seeing her having sex with someone.
Right.
So now the episode starts over, and it's the same day, but starts with Allie's perspective.
Right. Yeah. So now we're seeing Allie, and Cole's her husband, played by Joshua Jackson.
So hot.
So hot.
He's on the daddy list.
He's super on the daddy list. And you get the sense that like there's something kind of off about their marriage and their relationship, and you eventually find out kind of like what it is a little bit. And it starts off, I think it's in the morning and they're having sex, and she asks him like, how many times do you think we've had sex? And I don't know what he says, but it's like weird.
He's like, a lot. And she's like, 10,000 probably. Also to note, they're having sex and she shoves her finger in his butthole really quickly because she wants it to be over. You can tell like he's more into it than she is, and she's in a weird mood. And we find out that their son died.
Yeah,
So-
she goes to like a cemetery and visits gravestone. She says it's your birthday and you don't know. It's very sad, and you can just see like there's just like this like emptiness in her, and like it's a very sad moment for her. And then she goes to the diner where she works, and now you're seeing her perspective of meeting this family. And it's interesting because, you know, her version of it, or what she sees of it, is very different. So she sees the little girl choke on the marble, and in Noah's eyes, like, you know, he was the one that got the marble out of her, but in her eyes, he's now holding his daughter up by her ankles and is asking her to smack his daughter's back, and that's how the marble gets dislodged.
We're already starting to see also the big differences. So like, not only that, but so Allie in his version, her hair is down. It's like flowy, wavy. Her dress is shorter. At one point, she like leans over the counter. In her version, her hair is
More
pulled back in a ponytail. Dress is longer. They're all wearing different clothes. The family, even where they're sitting, is different.
Yeah.
Like that's what is so special about this show is like when you now have to decide who's more correct or telling the truth.
Yeah, and he's a little bit more
Flirty with her.
flirty, like turning on charm a little bit more. Yeah, so it's like that whole incident at the diner with the marble played out very differently in her eyes, and like even the exchange where he sees her in the bathroom plays out different. He tries to like offer her money for helping out, and she's like, no, I can't accept that. And then even when he meets her later on in the beach, you know, a big thing that happened in his version, she offers him a cigarette and he's like, no, I don't smoke. She's like, come on, have a cigarette. And so he accepts one. Later on the beach, he sees her and she goes, oh, what are you doing here? And he goes, I was going for a walk. What are you doing? Like, it's like he like kind of jokes that he found her, and then he offers her a cigarette and says that they're like these French cigarettes and she should have one.
Two important differences. Obviously, I noticed right away because cigarettes are my favorite. Allie has American spirits. I know that blue box anywhere, okay? She has them. She's like, and she's wearing a shorter dress and she has sand on herself and she pulls it up and shows her butt and is like, oh, I have sand everywhere. And then she asks him in his version, will you walk me home? Then in his version,
he offers to walk her home.
Yeah. In her version, yeah, they're French cigarettes. So even I love that contrast between like a French cigarette and cigarettes called American Spirit. And then like, obviously that's such a stark difference. So who the fuck actually had the cigarettes? That's such a big discrepancy of like, you guys are remembering this so differently. And then, yeah, in her version, he's like, let me walk you home, like pressuring her. The shower thing in his version, she's like, want to see my outdoor shower? And then she gets naked and he's like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I have to go.
No, I think both.
No, because then in her version, he's like, wow, an outdoor shower. Can I see? And he walks up And then
she offers, but both times she offered to like ask him if he wanted to try it or see it, and he left.
In her version, she's basically saying you're the aggressor of looking at the shower, and then he kisses her on the cheek, and she like kind of recoils,
right.
and then he's like, well, I guess I'll see you around, and she's like, yeah, it's hard to avoid because it's such a small town. So yeah, then he leaves, but she does get in the shower, but after
he leaves. Yeah.
So then Cole pulls up from this bonfire, and we saw this whole exchange where Cole, honestly, I thought was like really cold and was like, can we try to have a good day today?
Well, he gets dropped off by this girl that they both like know. She's like a friend, but you know, she makes some comment to Cole. She's like, if you're gonna fuck her or something, can it just not be in front of me? And then they get into this whole like heated exchange, you know, because she's very withholding towards him. And, you know, he's like, you're not the only one that lost a son that day. And obviously that's been something that's come between them and like a big issue that they're having.
Because she's still struggling with the death of her son, and I'm sure he is too, but people grieve differently. They're on different timelines. And so like he's already like annoyed with her because he had invited her to the bonfire and she didn't want to go, and he's just mad. So they get in this fight, but then it turns into like, let's have sex. And so they just start having sex. So in his version, he walks up and it just looks like a stranger, and she's like really making eye contact with him, and like she likes it. And then in her version, she sees him and is like really creeped out by it. At first, when she sees him, I think she's worried Cole is going to see. So she's kind of like, but then she like likes it.
Gets into it.
She comes because he basically is watching her.
Yeah. It's just so interesting because their versions are very different of like each other. And it's like, I think it's almost like the lies that we tell ourselves to make ourselves feel better about the activity that we engage in when we know it's immoral or wrong. You know, we always want to make the other person the bad guy in the situation so we can be the victim.
Totally. I think the most telling thing about this show, like, because you do flip-flop and you're trying to understand who you believe, when it shows someone in their perspective doing something shitty or shady, I tend to believe that that's the truth because they're like remembering it as like, yuck, I did this gross thing. But like when they're trying to make themselves look too angelic or too non-participatory, like, I don't know, it's kind of like a detective gadget show, like Inspector Gadget. Like who's telling the truth here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't remember how it like plays out if it becomes like less stark in the differences. I can't remember.
I think it's always this way, and it's just part of the show. Like it's I've never seen a show has that in it of two different perspectives of the exact same thing, and then you decide.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was episode 1, season 1, and that was us. It's a complicated show to explain, I'm now realizing. So if you guys hate this, let us know.
Sticky. Don't have an affair, and you won't have to, you know. Also, I can't remember. They're obviously talking to someone. Is it like I don't remember who they're both talking to. Because Allie, at the end of it, she goes, "How long is this going to take? I have to pick up my kid."
Oh, okay. That's
how it
important.
ends.
They're talking to a detective.
Yes.
So they're talking to a detective, and in present day, it's a detective, and it shows them, and Allie looks different. Her hair is short. She says, "I have to pick up my kid." We know in the show at that time, her child was dead. She didn't have any kids. And it doesn't really explain why yet. They're talking to a detective.
They're narrating this story looking back. That's how it's being told. Anyways, okay.
It's so scary the way that you can't trust your own memories. Like shit really does change over time.
Yeah.
Have you been following the Carrie Reed case at all?
I don't know.
Have you been following this, Leah?
Mm-mm.
Okay. It's everywhere. It's all over the news. We should get a verdict back today. Basically, there's this woman who the majority of the public feels is being framed. And her lawyer is doing a masterclass in getting through this trial. There's so much bias against her. Basically, her boyfriend died and was a cop. So they are basically trying to say that like someone moved his body, framed her, that she ran over him while she was drunk and didn't remember. It's this whole thing. It's really fascinating. If you don't know about it, please go look more into it. But it's like in real time. It's basically a big conflict of interest because all the people, the detectives doing it, they're all like friends and family, and they all have these like text messages, and there's this weird shit going on. But it's really interesting, and I'm curious to see what the verdict is.
Okay.
I don't want to take them through the whole case because we just went through the whole show, but really interesting. I was more so just curious if you guys had heard about it.
No, I'm not familiar, but I'm going to have to look it up.
Look it up.
You'll have to also check out the Sherri Papini thing because that was fucking crazy.
I've never heard of that in my life. It's called Sherri Papini?
It's on Hulu. It's a documentary about this woman who 2016, I think it was, she went missing. She went on she dropped her kids off and went missing. They thought maybe she like went out for like a run. She lived in like Shasta County, or she texted her husband, "Are you gonna be able to come home for lunch?" Like wink, wink, because she dropped her kids off with like daycare sitter or whatever. And he said, "I won't be able to today." And then like just vanished. And they were for 20 something days, could not find her. They found her phone eventually because he was able to do like the Find My Phone. It was just like on the side of the road or in a ravine or something like that with like hair on it. And then she like shows up one day, just like on a 911 call, like, "Oh my God, help, help." I just was like, on the side of the road running, like had like some type of like thing, like not a handcuff, like a restraint, like on one arm, whole thing, bruises all over her body, branding on her body, everything, like all of that. And has this whole elaborate story of how like these two Hispanic looking women picked her up, held her somewhere in a dark room. She was chained to like something in a closet, like had this whole elaborate story, but also like, couldn't remember and this whole thing. And she just was like, had like all this like PTSD. It was just like this whole thing. She just wanted to be with her husband and her kids. Like that was it. She just wanted to be left alone. Well, then suddenly the FBI gets a DNA match on her clothes. And it happened to be from a guy that she dated and knew in the early 2000s. She had orchestrated this entire thing. It was so fucking nuts. This woman was crazy pants, cuckoo bananas crazy.
Okay, definitely gonna watch that.
Yeah, watch it. It's really.
Speaking of true crime, before we jump into basement, because the most exciting thing that has ever happened to me, and I have to shout this out because I'm sure we have crossover between their listeners and ours. This is why I asked you this, Leia. My Favorite Murder is probably the only true crime podcast I still listen to, and I've just been listening to it forever. They're so funny. Once a week, they do shorter episodes where people write, their hometown stories of like connections to murders or whatever. And I wrote in and it got picked, but I wrote it in like 3 years ago and then rewrote it and shortened it because they kept saying like, "Look, you guys, this person sent this in a bunch, like keep sending them." And so I sent mine in and I could not believe that I listened to it. It was the first story of the episode. If you care and you listen to MFM, the episode is Minisode 389. And it was their June 24th episode. You can go there and listen to my Green River Killer connection. But yeah, that was like so exciting. I've
Congratulations.
peaked. Thank you. It's really, really.
She's peaked, everyone.
I've peaked.
Okay.
Who's in your basement?
It's not a who again, but I'm going to go ahead and put period cramps in my basement because I had the worst of them yesterday. It was so bad. I was literally about to call an ambulance. I shit you not. I woke up around 4:30 and I was like, okay, cramps. So I went to go get my like little heating pad. Didn't even make it back to my bed because I started pouring sweat. So I went to my bathroom and then I started feeling really nauseous. Maybe once a year, I get physically ill from cramps. I was like, oh no, this might be it. I'm like, I just at very least need to lay on the cold tile in the bathroom. So I went to do that and I just was like, I just laid there and I was like, it just started to get worse. And I was like, this has to be what labor is like. I feel like I'm about to give birth, even though I'm definitely not pregnant, but like it just started to get more intense and more intense and more intense. I started crying. I was just like, I cannot believe this pain. Like, this is insane. I've never experienced anything like this. Eventually, I threw up and it didn't stop for an hour.
Oof.
And the pain didn't stop. The pain didn't even go down. And eventually it just like went away a little bit. Like it just the intensity. I mean, it was still like dull for like the entire day, but like, fuck that.
I've yacked from period cramp pain. It's crazy.
Yeah. There were some other things that happened, but I'm only gonna go with that. But like, but yeah, it was so gnarly. So
and the way we're just expected to have to do our normal lives when that's happening is crazy.
Yeah.
Luckily, you were able to tile lay.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I was drenched. My clothes were like soaked. So period cramps go right in the basement. Like, and also like men could never.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, sorry again. Like, oh, why you always talk shit about men? Because you couldn't. You just couldn't do this. Sorry. Anyway, who's in your basement?
Well, I'm sorry that happened to you. So I mean, Clinton Kane. That goes without saying. From earlier.
Yeah.
Boeing is my basement. because they just sent 2 people to space and they can't get them down.
Why is Boeing?
There's a new phrase going around the internet called,
They can't even put people 30,000 feet in the air. So what are we talking about?
the phrase is, if it's Boeing, I ain't going.
Yeah.
So I don't totally know, because I'm not an astronaut. I know it's hard to believe what the issue is, but they sent them up there. There's some like fluid leaking or something, and they basically cannot detach from the thing that they're attached to. So they were supposed to be back about, I believe at the point we're recording this, like 10 days ago. So they're scrambling, trying to get a solution figured out, but it's a man and a woman and they're stuck up there, and that's very sad. Boeing, I don't really know what your problem is these days, but you really, you're acting like a slob kebab. You
Not
need to
one
get it
person was
together.
like, hey guys, Boeing's not really killing it these days. Maybe we don't. Maybe we just put this on a pause.
Maybe we stay in the stratosphere, I'd say. Probably good.
They're barely managing that. Like maybe we don't do space with them. This is the dumbest timeline we've ever fucking been in.
No, it's crazy. So that is definitely in my basement. And then I want to make sure I remember her name. From the Carrie Reed case that I was talking to, this judge is, she's so biased. I don't know what's going on. I've never seen something so unprofessional, but Judge Beverly Canoe, I don't know if that's how I'm saying her name wrong. You can get right in the basement, sister. They were arguing yesterday. Her lawyer was arguing this on the form for the jury to fill out. There was no not guilty box in one of the sections. It just was guilty and then nothing. And so he basically was like, can we reprint these and put not guilty? Because what do they do? And she was like, they just don't check anything. And I'm like, a clerical error, like, why do we need to make this an issue? And her judge, again, the attorney was doing such a good job. But the woman like laughed like Scott because it was so ridiculous. And she's like, oh, this is funny, Miss Reed. We're done with this, and moved on. She's just biased. So
Who is it? Beverly Douchecanoe?
Beverly Douchecanoe. That's right. You know, that's why I wasn't sure how to pronounce it. Douchecanoe.
Douchecanoe.
Great.
Love it.
Should we get into some Heuxmetown Heroes?
Let's fucking go.
Let's go. Let's fucking go. Ariel says, hi, pretties. You had an episode discussing tarot, banishment, psychics, and it inspired me to write in. Before the days of TikTok, we sometimes had psychics on the radio station, maybe only in Las Vegas, I don't know. One day I was feeling like I would be alone forever, embarrassingly because I was only 22, but I digress. I heeded her advice and made a list of every quality I would want in a man and put it under my mattress. I listed everything I could think of, okay? Physical qualities, character traits, has to love my cat, you get it. I met my now husband shortly after he ticked all the boxes, and the time span from meeting him to marriage was 34 days. We're going on 13 years now. But my meet cute is not why I'm writing you today. Shortly after we got married, we moved to Japan, and my mom stayed in my house while I was away. Any guess as to what I realized years later? That list that I left under my mattress, the list with every trait I wanted. My mom did move her own bed in and must have a big dick in gel pen with a heart squiggle. I obviously never asked and she never brought it up, but she's dead now, so bless her for taking that gem to her grave.
Oh my God.
I love you both so much. I'm a day one listener. Dana, I relate to you so much. I also have OCD and was very young to the Dead Parents Club, and I thrive in dark humor to get through. Keep killing it.
Oh my God, I'm obsessed with that.
This is so funny for so many reasons. First of all, did I write this in? Because I also have done this before. It hasn't gone well for me yet, but like my list that is so specific, it's on my phone. But as to what I want in a person, and one of the things is has to love my cat, obviously.
Yeah, no, I was like, Dana.
You're like, I'm like, dear, disrespectfully. That's hilarious. And I'm really sorry you have a dead mom, but I'm glad you're funny. And I bet she did see that. And she was like, that's my girl.
Yes. I love it.
Did you ever have psychics on the radio station?
I don't know. Not that I can think of. Doesn't mean that there wasn't a thing. I just like didn't really stand out to me. But I love that. That's sick.
I mean, maybe it's like Bikini Barista in Seattle and like Las Vegas has that. So we'll find out what Utah's was.
I'm sure Utah has plenty of unique things to it, but I don't know. Next one. Jennifer says, hi, queens. Big fan and listener since day one. I have been waiting for a place to share this story, and I feel this is it. In my 20s, I met this cute guy who was friends with my friends in a different state. We start talking, and I make plans to go see him. Of course, the day I go see him, I get my period. Since I didn't want our first time to be on the red tide, I decided to tell him, but also let him know I was totally down to explore each other. I go down on him, and frankly, I know I'm good. I could suck the rust off of a bike left in the rain for years. Incredible.
Jenny.
Anyway, things are really getting hot when all of a sudden he screams, Yahtzee. I was so taken aback by his screaming of a random family game that I was not prepared for the most giant load being injected into my mouth. From the utter shock, I literally exorcist style sprayed him, his bed, and most of his room. Once I regrouped, I spent most of my time trying to decipher what Yahtzee meant. Like, did he win? Did he roll the big dice? We continued to hang out, but honestly, I was so nervous about what kind of board game porn talk he would yell anytime he came. Things fizzled shortly after. Years later, while in Target with my kids, my son asks me, Mommy, can we get this for family night? It was no less than Yahtzee. Needless to say, we left empty-handed. Yeah, I don't, what, that is Yahtzee?
I mean, yeah, I think he was just like, that's how he says that he's orgasming, which is crazy.
It's giving like Michael Scott. Just saying.
Put some respect on his name.
I know, but like,
No, it's so corny. It's crazy.
I dig Michael Scott, but I would never hook up with Michael Scott for that reason, because I would have the ick the entire. Come on, girl.
We're different people.
Let's be real with ourselves.
I'm in love with him.
You get the ick over the tiniest things. Like he would give you the ick.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's funny that she's like, say it, don't spray it, but she sprayed it everywhere because she like was like so shocked by it. That's so funny. And honestly, sometimes I think it's a power move just to spit it right on him in different ways. Like, I know she didn't mean to do that, but I love that. I think that's like good for you.
Yeah.
Take your power back.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yep.
those are great.
I love it. Okay. Then let's just get into WWDD.
WWDD.
Okay, Shannon says, I've been married to my husband for 4 years and together in total for 10. I recently found OnlyFans charges he was hiding on a credit card. He has since canceled his subscription and said it won't happen again, but I still feel angry he hid it. What are your thoughts of men in relationships subscribing to OnlyFans? I feel it's inappropriate, but also feel I may have overreacted. I'm starting to have trust issues I've never had with him in our 10 years together. Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Only because I feel like OnlyFans is one of those subscription sites where you can pay for communication and interaction that I would feel the same way maybe. I don't want to have a conversation about it. Just be like, can you tell me the things that you were interested in seeing on there? Like, what were you subscribing to? Like, I'm not like against like porn or anything like that. So like, I would want to know like, what was the visual diet that you were consuming on that? Because obviously, you know, I think you have a right to know those kind of things.
Yeah, I'd be curious. I mean, if he watches porn too, like just goes to Pornhub, and if she has a problem with that also, because then we're talking about two different things. I mean, everyone's different, so you have to decide what your limit is, but I don't think you're overreacting. If you're having feelings about it, even if you didn't like porn at all, that's your prerogative. Now, if that aligns with your partner, that might be a different thing, but like I would say it's important to have that conversation to really understand what it's about, if it's just porn or whatever. But then I also understand if it's the secrecy element of it that's bothering you, which is kind of what this reads like to me.
That's
like that.
Yeah.
I get that if it feels like he's trying to hide something, but like then you'd have to ask yourself, if you guys are out in the open and he's like, this is why I enjoy it, would you mind if I don't want to hide it from you? Is it okay if I'm doing this? Then you'd also have to decide if you're okay with that.
Yeah, I think that's what you need to figure out, is if it is like the element of the secrecy or lies. Because I think for me, sometimes when it comes to trust, it's always about like that betrayal of lies and keeping me in the dark on things, because I think I could be more accepting of something if it wasn't hidden from me. That to me is more of a betrayal than the actual thing of what it is.
Totally. So I think you just need to have two conversations, one with him about like getting down to the bottom of it, and then one with yourself based on that, of like, what about it bothers you, and then kind of go from there. But it's not linear, and don't gaslight yourself that you're being a silly goose. You're not. It's okay to have a reaction about something that's a sensitive topic, and I'm sure a lot of people feel that way about OnlyFans.
Yeah, exactly. But good luck.
Brooke says, Hey besties, thank you for being the friends I've always prayed for. I'm 34 and currently undergoing fertility treatment. I unfortunately miscarried my first pregnancy, and not a lot of people know what my husband and I have been through. We started treatment last year and found out the infertility was actually a result of his sperm. But of course, the assumption is always that it's the woman's fault. I already carry so much guilt, societal pressure, and frustration of not being able to get pregnant, but people's constant questions and unsolicited advice on either how to conceive or when we will conceive has become unbearable. Besties, please, how do I grow some disrespectfully ovaries and tell everyone to fuck off and mind their own damn business? In 2024, it is mind-blowing to me that anyone is still asking anyone about when they're getting married, when they're having kids. Like, we did an episode about this before where we were like, you should just say something really crass and make them sit with that and think of it. And also I do like you pointed this out. A lot of times the fertility issues are with men, and it is just completely assumed that it's the woman that can't get pregnant. But regardless of the reason you do not have a baby yet, it's not anyone's business. So honestly, if you don't feel like being cheeky, I would just be straightforward and be like, you realize that there could be sensitive issues as to why that is, right? So it's probably not appropriate to bring up to someone.
Yeah, or like you do realize that if we could, we would. So it's not necessarily. I don't know. I mean, I think people sometimes when they're asking, it's because they, are excited and they really, they want to know. It's coming. I think it's always coming from a genuine place, and also not understanding how inappropriate it is and how sensitive that subject is. And I just wish people would get it through their thick skulls.
Also, totally. If you don't want to be combative, a 3-second neutral is also really powerful. It's a subconscious thing in human beings. If you don't say anything, it means automatically that person's signaling to their brain that they've done something wrong or that it's like a bad response. So if someone asks me like, when are you getting pregnant?
When are you getting pregnant?
It's all you have to do is just say nothing for 3 seconds.
That's
and then after,
scary.
and so like when they sit there and think about it, like, okay, we're going to have to, okay, maybe let me think about the words that just came out of my mouth. So honestly, neutrality. Why don't you just say something and then just change the subject? Like,
I don't think there's anything wrong with saying like, I'm really not comfortable talking about it.
yes.
And not like in a hostile way or defensive way, just like really in a neutral tone as well. Just not comfortable talking about it.
Yeah. Well, I'm really sorry that you're going through that.
I know.
And I'm glad that you have your husband to support you and vice versa. And I don't know, you should really clown on some people though. Fuck them.
Hell yeah. Love it. Okay. Next. Anonymous says, do you believe in forgiving and not forgetting? My sister and I live in different states, Tennessee and California, and used to talk on the phone almost daily until 18 months ago when we got into a disagreement and I found out she betrayed me. Since then, I've been cordial to her. I've sent her the standard happy birthday text and a generic Christmas card, but have not had the desire to call or visit her. Now, I've been accused of not forgiving her by my entire family. I'm guessing she's telling the family that I don't speak with her often like I used to. In my eyes, I've forgiven her, but I haven't forgotten what she has done to hurt me. The relationship has changed and will never be the same. Am I wrong here? P.S. I relate to Katie in this last VPR episode. You're not raging mad every time you see Sandoval, but you don't want to be around him and will not treat him the same as pre-Sandoval. I don't agree with those who are saying that you need to get over it and forgive him. In my opinion, you have forgiven him, but you have not forgotten the past. This is the outcome of his shitty decisions and the relationship will never be the same again. Love you both and your show. Listen, I think sometimes like that, those are the consequences of people's behavior and actions. I think you forgive people for yourself, not for them. And if you decide that the relationship needs to change for your own energy, your own peace, whether that's forever or just for the time being, like that's how it needs to be.
Also, I don't care if it's your sister,
exactly,
your cousin, your chihuahua, like it's anyone in your life that you feel has brought negativity or toxicity or really hurt you. To me, it does sound like you've moved on, but that doesn't mean it's exactly consequences to your point, Katie. Like, it doesn't mean that everything's just going to go back to normal. And if you don't feel like faking that, and also I don't really like that she's running around talking to your family about it. Like, if they keep bringing it up to you, you are also well within your right to say, like, I just don't really feel comfortable talking about this. Yeah, it just, even if it's family, like I don't speak to my dad and there's a lot of reasons for that, but there's one pretty big one. Like for the last, I mean, I've talked about this before, but 11 years, I've talked to him for maybe 5 of them. And final reason why I finally stopped talking to him last year is so blatantly obvious. And he recently told someone in my life, I don't know why she won't talk to me, which is so shocking. And I'm like, yeah, that just honestly confirms for me that I have made the right decision and it's just not something I can have in my life. I have forgiven and I have moved past, but it's just not something I can have in my life. It's what's best for me.
Mhm.
So if this new type of relationship with her is what's best for you, then it's what's best for you. And maybe it will change in time, but also maybe it won't.
Maybe it won't, because I think, you know, when somebody does something that hurts somebody else, they have a hard time recognizing that behavior, modifying that behavior, apologizing for that behavior. So what they do is they, you know, put themselves in a victim kind of mentality, because you are standing strong in your own, you know, boundaries and conviction and saying like, I don't put up with this kind of behavior. Like, I'm going to forgive you because I don't want to like have that kind of energy in my life, but I'm also not going to have this kind of behavior in my life either. And people don't understand that because they don't do that kind of shit in their own life. And so I think this is just serving as a constant reminder to you of why these are the type of people, regardless of who they are, sister, friend, not, it doesn't matter. I think you just have to like, it's integrity. So stay strong.
Angela says, love you both and the pod. How do you all get over a string of bad dates? The dating pool has been rough after my last relationship ended, and I don't want to let the few bad dates change my outlook on future experiences. Any tips or tricks you can offer on staying realistically optimistic during the ups and downs of navigating online dating would be appreciated.
Take a break. Take a long break.
Yeah, I haven't been on apps now for like 3 months, and it's honestly, it's at the beginning of the episode when it was like flying over beaches and shit is how it feels in my life at the moment. I would say it doesn't mean that you're never going to date again, but if you have consistently had bad dates and dating no longer feels fun when it should feel fun, take a break.
Hang out with your friends. Just do things that you enjoy doing on your own with your friend. Like take up a hobby. Just do anything else but date. I think that, I don't know. I think it's just gotta like regroup.
I honestly think that dating app culture, part of the problem with it is that people stay in it too long when they shouldn't. Like they just stay on it and force themselves to go on dates when they're energetically not like feeling up for it. And then it's just going to make that cycle continue. Because if you're going into something also being like, ugh, I don't want to be doing this, blah, 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 you're really leading with that, even if you're not saying it. So it's probably not going to go well.
You need like an energetic set. So like taking a break from something, focusing on something else, like read a book, hang out with your friends, just like be out of it for a little while. And then you can come back in being like, oh, wow, like re-energized, having a new approach, having a new mindset. I think it'll just be a game changer.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I don't know when I'll decide to like date again, but
I don't know. And again, it just feels like the beach every time I think about not dating. It's
yeah, I'm
really
like,
great.
oh,
I don't know. Things are good. So
things are great. I don't know. When somebody convinces me that they're worth it in a big way, that's when I will. But until then, no thanks.
Until then, till next time.
Until next time.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Babe, you're going to see the power of women. Like,
Disrespectfully.